In a recent TV interview I was privileged to do, I was asked, what are my thoughts on the recent violence in the community between young black people? What do I think is the problem? What do I think needs to be done? What do I think about black people killing other black people? My personal text messages, messenger, same question, continuously been asked over me over the last 2 weeks. When I look online, someone posts something about a black person getting killed by a rogue police officer. We know what the response is. Well, why don't y'all protest when y'all kill each other, when another black person kill them? Why are y'all not protesting then? Why are you not marching for that? Y'all say Black Lives Matter, but why does it not matter when a black person kill another young black person? When y'all committing crimes amongst each other, why doesn't Black Lives Matter then? I'm constantly asked that question. And I'm here to answer it today. I'm here to give you my honest opinion, my honest answer. I could hit you with statistics, people. I could hit you with all kinds of statistics right now about how different races kill each other more than we do. I can hit you with statistics showing how white people kill other white people more than black people kill other black people, commit more crimes amongst themselves. I can hit you with statistics of talking about the prison rate. I can hit you with statistics about the different type of crimes that's going on. I can hit you with all kinds of statistics, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Because the numbers are not going to resonate with you. And quite frankly, I want to paint a deeper picture for you. This may be easier for you to understand when you ask about the violence that happens in the black communities, in the black cities. When you see what's happening in Chicago, all the killings, when you see all the violence that happened in Los Angeles, in Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore, DC, when you hear about New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, let me tell you, let me paint the picture for you, people. Think about it for a second. Take a journey with me. Soldiers, or armed soldiers. Their job is to protect our freedom, protect our very rights, protect the lives and all the privileges that we take for granted every single day. How do they do that? They go through extensive training. Why do they go through extensive training? Because when you're in the army, when you're in the heat of battle, guess what? You're not going to have time to think. You're going to fall back on your instincts. Instincts are not something that you're normally born with, but something you're trained to have. Instincts in battle, you're trained to have. So they're trained to have these instincts to fight back and respond in combat. These soldiers, after receiving training, are forced to go into places that are way worse than what we call a ghetto, way worse than we call hoods, way more violence, where you can't tell the person who's a victim to the person who's trying to kill you, when literally everybody looks the same and you don't know who's who and what's what. Let me paint the picture for you, people. This is where soldiers deal with when they go overseas. This is where soldiers deal with when they go to Afghanistan, Iraq. Driving down the road, Humvees, driving down the road. IDEs, I think that's what they call them, IDEs, bombs that are put in potato chip bags, sandwich bags, things that we ride over every single day can cause a massive explosion. Doing a raid in cities, doing their routines. What can happen? They can get shot by a little kid. A kid my son's age. I got a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. You got 10-year-olds with rocket repel grenades, with machine guns, trying to gun down our army people, our army men, or army women. They see all kinds of things, catastrophic way of living. They're forced to see these things. Then they gotta come home and live a normal life. Our servicemen and women have to come home after seeing some of the most egregious things and live a normal life. And expect to come back into a regular environment and just adjust and continue a regular way of living. Not realizing simple things could be a trigger to them, could cause trauma. You ever see that movie Army Sniper? Bradley Cooper played it. If you've never seen it, spoiler alert. There was a scene in that movie where Bradley Cooper, being a sniper, was up there searching a guy called the Drill. Why did they call it the Drill, people? Because he actually used the drill to torture people. In one scene, he actually tortured a young little boy maybe your child's age. Like I said, my son's 10. The kid had to be around 10. Maybe he was 12. The point is, he tortured him. Bradley Cooper was told by his superiors to stand down. Do not shoot or try to take action against the guy they called the Drill. He had to sit there and watch this little boy be tortured by using something that most of us use in our homes every single day when we're fixing something. A regular drill, a household drill. Bradley Cooper then went home after serving his tours. And while he was getting tires changed on his wife's minivan, all he heard was the simple sound of a drill. And it forced him back into that place, back into Iraq, back into that spot where the little boy was tortured. Now, what does this have to do with black on black killing? You're probably wondering, like, where are you going with this? I told you, I'm painting a picture for you, people. What Army service women and men deal with is called PTSD. Post-traumatic stress syndrome. Post-traumatic stress disorder. They deal with that. And they're forced to come back and live normal lives. Now, here's where it relates to people who live in hoods, ghettos, bad neighborhoods where all this killing and violence is taking place. Think about this for a second, people, because I once lived there. What do you think happened there? What do you think? People out there planting flowers and stuff? Everybody helping the old woman with her groceries? You know, everybody go to school, live happy, get a job up there bagging groceries for the as people come out? What do you think happens? What do you think is happening? Mom and dads working 9 to 5, come back to their garage, come home, cook dinner. Everybody sits around for a family dinner. None of that happens. That's all fairy tale. What really happens into the hood, into these places that you talk about, where black on black killing, what really happened there is gun violence, people being murdered, drugs all around you, negativity, constant reminders that you're never going to be anything, constant reminders that you can't be anything. Your own family telling you not to think too much of yourself. Don't get too arrogant. Don't get too cocky. Don't get too confident. They gotta break you down a few pegs if you start believing in yourself too much. Constantly people up there trying to push drugs in your face, alcohol in your face, liquor stores on every single corner. We talk about gun control and everything. There's no gun control in the hood. Nobody's going to the gun store. They're giving them away for basically free. You're taught how to shoot a gun before you're taught how to read and write. You're seeing people get murdered before you truly understand what Sesame Street is or how to get there. It's a bad joke. The point is, a lot of people who live in the city, a lot of these kids who y'all are writing off talking about they're so violent and they're so bad and they're causing so many issues, or the same people you're not looking to understand. So you're saying that from the comfort of your own house, from your own safety. And you're looking at them like they're so bad, but never look at what cards they're dealt, what they have to deal with on a daily basis. Growing up in poverty, not knowing what they're going to eat. Mom's working 2-3 jobs. When dad is home, he's working 2-3 jobs. Too tired to take you out there to play basketball, shoot a hoop. Too tired to play catch with you. Because parents got to work so hard, so many jobs. Go through so much just to put food on the table, just to say I'm broke. Just to say I'm broke. You gotta work 2-3 jobs just so you can have the ability to say you're broke. And who's babysitting these kids? Not by choice, but by necessity. The streets are babysitting these kids, and the streets are teaching them all the wrong things. The streets pretend like they love these young kids. They pretend like they really care about them. And they show them all the attention they want when all they're raising them up to do is die. To be slaughtered, to be the next victim, to be the next headline in the newspaper. This is what life is like in the ghetto. When I grew up back in the early 80s in the projects, I remember playing basketball out bouncing, and I couldn't take a step without stepping on a drug cap. It was everywhere. Drugs was everywhere. Drug dealers was everywhere. And what was Hope? What was Hope living in the ghetto? Hope was living in the ghetto whether he was going to either have a great rapping career or you was going to have a wicked jump shot. Because if you didn't have either one of them, you wasn't getting out the hood. You wasn't making it out. So either you was a great rapper, and if you was going to be a great rapper, you got to have this, you got to have the whole attitude to go behind it, the persona to go behind it. You got to have all of that. So that means you got to get out here and really move the drugs, because you can't be a rapper talking about you from the hood and not really doing it. So you got to actually do it. You got to live that life. You got to put in that work so that when you become a rapper, you have some credibility. You have street credibility, which you can't take to the store and buy anything with. Or you got to have a wicked jump shot. Man, you're going to have to spend all your time training, and then drug dealers give you money trying to keep you out the street. Yeah, get some sneakers. Yeah, get some clothes. Trying to prevent you getting out the street because you know the reality of the situation when you look at these people in the hood, you look at these people committing crimes. Let me tell you something, people. The difference between somebody that's not really from the hood, who likes to pretend like they are, and a person who really experienced it is, the person that's really from the hood is trying to get the hell out of there. They don't want to be there. You might think they want to live there the rest of their life. You think they want to build a home there and never leave. Everybody that lives in the hood is trying to get the hell out. Nobody wants to sit in poverty for the rest of their lives. Nobody wants to live in a house that's on fire. Everybody that lives there wants to get out. The only ones that think this is something to glorify, living in the hood, this drug life, this murder life, only ones that think it's good and something to glorify is the ones who are never really from there, that only seen it in a movie or in a rap video. The reality is there's no glory in it. There's nothing good about constantly being beat on. Told you ain't crap. Told you can't mount to nothing. Constantly reminded of what you can't do. This is something we fight against on this show, don't we? We fight against this every week. Me sitting here talking to y'all, telling you what you can be. But you don't realize what happens is and how this connects to the very soldiers. How I'm painting the picture. You grow up with PTSD from the hood, hearing gunshots going off. You become immune to it. Seeing dead bodies, seeing people get beat up, knocked out. You don't get trauma from it. You become desensitized to this thing. Seeing people drink liquor stores everywhere, constantly being told that you can't be nothing. You become desensitized to it. You become PTSD from this. There's trauma that come with that. Listen, I live in the suburbs. I go to my car, I'm looking all around, I'm paranoid going to my car, I live in a nice neighborhood. If I'm in the supermarket, I'm in a parking lot. My awareness is at a heightened level. Why? Because I came from a neighborhood that if you wasn't at a heightened level, chances are you're going to get something taken from you, especially if you had something nice. Because once in a while in the hood, when your mom and dad live in poverty, they're able to buy you something nice, like a nice pair of Jordans, some good sneakers and stuff. They're able to get you them Jordans. But the problem is, some Air Max 95s, they're able to get you them. The problem is that there's somebody across the street, somebody in the neighborhood that want them sneaks just as bad as you want them even more because their mom and dad couldn't buy them. And they got a gun, or they got a friend with a gun, and they're willing to do anything to get those sneakers, even if it means killing you. That's the real people. That's the life we live in. But you might say, okay, so you tell me poverty is causing people to kill each other? Yeah. Put anybody in a poverty situation, there's going to be crime. White people live in poverty situations called rural areas. There's violence there. There's drug addiction there. Any place you put someone where there's poverty, no matter what their race is, there's going to be crime because there's no hope. There's no hope for the future. But with black people killing black people, because you're probably looking at me right now like, man, I don't buy it. I ain't buying that, Alan. I don't think that's a good enough reason. Here's another reason. Black people killing other black people. You want to know what the real is? Here's the truth. You kill what you don't like. You kill what you don't like. You kill what you can't stand. We often talk about killing on the show, don't we, people? Come on, we do. Think about it. We really do. We talk about killing, right? We talk about killing off our trauma. We talk about killing off our self-doubt. We talk about killing off our fears. We talk about killing off intimidation, killing off stress, killing off anxiety. We talk about killing things we don't like, right? We talk about eliminating those things, getting rid of them. What do you think other black people are doing when they're killing each other in these neighborhoods? They're trying to eliminate something they don't like. I go back to my previous point, people. When you're constantly told you ain't crap because your color of your skin, you're too dark, so you're ugly. Because the texture of your hair is not fine enough, you're ugly. When you're constantly told you're not going to be nothing because maybe your father wasn't nothing. Maybe your father was a drug addict. Who knows what the situation was? Maybe your mother left you. Maybe she was a drug addict. Maybe your family didn't do anything. Most of the people in your family is criminals. When you constantly reminded that you can't do nothing, when you have some kind of potential, but somebody's beating you down for that potential. And I'm not just talking about potential in the means of playing sports. You're a great football player, so you're confident, great basketball player, baseball player, whatever your vice is. Just because you're a great player don't mean you're confident. But you might have education. You might have academics. Be excellent academics, very smart, very articulate, can speak very clearly, speak fluently. But then you have people who are judging you and beating you down because you speak a certain way. You got people beating you down and reminding you, yo, knock you out a couple pegs. Just because you can bounce that ball really good, don't mean nothing. Don't forget where you come from. Don't forget who you are. Don't get your head too big. They gotta knock you down a few pegs. You play football, let me knock you down a few pegs. You play baseball, let me knock you down a few pegs. You gotta constantly knock down a few pegs because you're getting too big. You're getting too confident. Don't we talk about that in the show? The other issue is people don't really think much of themselves, but they think they're more superior than you. So I'm gonna knock you down then, because who are you to think you're better than me? So you're constantly reminded how bad you are, how ugly you are, how useless you are, how worthless you are. You're a mistake. These are the constant words you're hearing. Let me ask you something. As an adult right now, you hearing this, how would you feel if this was the life you lived? How would you respond? You're going to go out there and you're going to be the best you can be? You're going to take advantage of every opportunity when you don't see them? When you're going to public schools, it's not like going to private schools. Listen, I worked at a private school. It was a culture shock to me. I worked at a private school doing, what's it called, landscaping. I was doing it first time ever at a private school. It was a culture shock. It was like stepping on the campus of a college. We're talking about people in first grade, how they're walking around campus to their classrooms. A huge building just for the music room. Huge building just for the cafeteria. It looked like a dorm restaurant in the cafeteria. The school was freaking amazing. You should have seen the gym. The actual gym looked like a stadium was off to itself. I never seen nothing like this in public school. In public school, we had one building. Everything was combined in that one building. The best of walking around you was going to do is walking around the hallways to the next class. I used to sit there and think, who's going to be the next president? How are you going to be a president? Because all I seen was public school. I didn't see the potential of anyone being the next president, next executive where I lived. There was not much hope you seen coming out of there. But when I'm at this private school, I'm seeing something much better, much brighter. I seen the potential of being more. But how many kids actually see more than their project walls? More than police lights and street lights? More than gun violence and the lights of a liquor store or the lights of a church? That prays on Sunday, have Bible study on Wednesday, but you never see them again in the neighborhood. They're not outreach programs. They're not helping these people who can't afford to pay their electric bill. They're not helping these children, not creating free basketball leagues, sports leagues, so these kids can have something to do after work, after school. What do you think these people would do? You got black kids who hate themselves. So when they hate themselves and you look at your mirror and you don't like what you see, you want to kill that off. So when you go kill somebody, you say, how can you kill your brother? I'm not killing my brother. I'm killing what I hate about me. So when you see black people killing other black people, they're not just killing them because, oh, I don't see this as a person. I see them as an animal. They're killing off what they see in themselves, what they hate about themselves. When they look in the mirror, they see something they hate. They see a person that has no potential, has no opportunities, have no growth, has no chance at life, and who's constantly told they ain't gonna be nothing. So when they killing you, when they're pulling that trigger, when they shooting you, you like, how are you shooting your brother? They're not shooting their brother. They're not shooting their sister. They're shooting that ugly person that lives inside them, who they're constantly trying to kill off, but coming up short every single time and just digging themselves in a deeper and deeper grave. And there's no shovel to get them out because there's no one to help them get them out. See, I often talk about this. I talked about this on a TV show, people. I said we need older people to come talk to the youth. Come talk to them. Not talk at them, because a lot of older people like to talk at you. Don't listen to what you know. Assume you don't know anything and talk at you. Something I hate when people talk at me. I can't stand it. One of my pet peeves. Older people talk at you. They talk down on you. Oh, y'all don't know nothing. Y'all the reason this neighborhood is so bad. And back in my day, it was this. Let me tell you something. Y'all old people and older people kill me with this. Parents kill me with this. Y'all act like y'all didn't hide behind school smoking weed. You act like you ain't skipped school to drink liquor. You act like you didn't never do anything. You act like you wasn't sitting here busting people's windows, like you never stole from the store. You never got into a fist fight. You never got suspended. It kills me because you get people who get on this pedestal that act like they never done anything wrong. So when they talk to you, acting like you are the only person doing it, acting like this current generation was the first generation to cause problems. This generation was not responsible for the crack era. They grew up in it. They grew up in the crack era. These are people The products of the crack era living out here right now. The products of having that waking up on a freaking step at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning hungry with no mom and dad in sight. Selling their Pampers off, their milk off, their clothes, their shoes. This is the generation. And we look at the older people like, yo, go holler at us. Come talk to us. Come talk to us. Tell us what we need to do. Teach us what we need to do to improve our neighborhoods. Teach us what we need to do to correct the issues and mistakes we made. Use your experiences to help us. When we look at what's going on with the marches, the protests and stuff, why are there older people who already didn't protest? We need more of them to step out here and tell us how to organize, how to construct our protests, what we should be fighting for, what we should be marching for, how are we going to plan it, how are we going to have a direction of knowing where we're going to go if there's no one to sit here and tell us. If everybody is too busy trying to point blame at these youth rather than stepping in and helping them. You rather talk about how they're destroying the neighborhood, not realizing they ain't destroying. How you going to destroy something that was given to you already destroyed? You're putting the stress on them to put these pieces back together. You couldn't do it. They don't have the understanding or knowledge of how to correct, how to deal with what they feel. Because you're either talking at them, or when you do talk to them, you remind them of their flaws, the hatred that they already have, and instilling, enlighten that flame of hatred, anger that already lives inside of them. A lot of older people say, well, I'm scared of youth. I'm scared of youth. Never thought I'd see a day or hear a day that someone actually said, they're afraid of youth. See, I grew up in the projects. Let me tell you something. Everybody, a lot of y'all know it's a village raising a child. Everybody in the city was like correcting us. Everybody was. The next door neighbor mom was my mom. The woman across the street, the older woman across the street was my grandma. Not literally, but they was where if you seen you doing something you wasn't supposed to, they're going to say something. They're going to come to your mom. But the problem is now, you can't go to somebody right now and tell them their child did anything without getting into a fight. Because nobody wants to believe their child does anything wrong. Where's the village? Where's the village, people? We need to bring back the village in order to wrangle us, our youth, back together and understand they are the future. They are the future. They are going to be the ones who change things, to correct the issues that they inherited. We can't keep sitting there beating them down, pointing them down. But every mistake they make, be reminded of it. We have to understand PTSD. We got to understand what our soldiers go through. They are soldiers, trained killing machines. They go overseas after receiving all this training. See some of the most heinous things, then forced to come back and live a normal life. What do you think is happening with our youth? The same thing. They see all this craziness, this chaos, this murder, poverty, drugs. And then you take them out and you put them in these programs, the Scared Straight program. I'm going to take you and I'm going to bring you to a prison, yeah. And I'm going to scare the life out of you. Then I'm going to take you out of that prison. Then I'm going to take you back into your neighborhood. I'm going to drop you off in your neighborhood and say, hey, change your life. Not changing your circumstances, change your life. I'm not changing the fact that you're still living in poverty. Your mom and dad's still working and can't afford to buy those new Jordans, barely can afford to put food on the table. I'm not going to change the fact that you're raising yourself. I'm not going to change the fact that you're still surrounded by the people who are not like-minded, that want academics. I'm surrounded by people who are out here looking to kill, rob, and steal, but you want them to change their lives. You want them to turn their lives around. Stop smoking weed. I'm going to scare you straight from stop smoking weed. I'm going to scare you straight from stop drinking, from stop fighting when you're put in an environment where you're forced to survive. They're forced to survive, and you tell them, then you take them out of that neighborhood, tell them, look, you need to stop doing all that. They're going to drop you right back in. And you expect them to change it. No. They need more support than you just telling them what they need to do. They need your actual support. They need you to take them out of these neighborhoods. Let them see something. Let them see there's a world outside those walls. Let them see there's a world outside those project walls. That it's not all about gun violence. Take them to a prison. It's only instilling in them what they already expected to go. It's like taking somebody in a rich neighborhood or the suburbs to college. You take them to college to see Duke University, North Carolina. Because you're instilling in them that you're already going to college. This is your potential. This is your future. When you're taking your children to these Scared Straight programs, taking them to prisons, you're teaching them, look, this is where you're going to end up. This is where you're going to go. You're already putting their subconscious to expect to end up here. You take them to a grave site. This is where you're going to go. You're putting their subconscious to expect to visit that grave site before that time. I'm not saying that these young people are innocent and what they're doing is right by killing each other, because it's not. It's not. It ain't right. It isn't right. But before you're going to correct the issue, before you're going to judge the issue, you have to first understand the issue, the source of the pain, source of all this issue and all this anger and all this hate. The hate that they have for themselves, the hate that they were taught through Jim Crow laws, the hate and trauma. We talked about trauma, the trauma that you felt, your mom felt, your grandmother felt, your great-grandmother felt. When they talk about slavery doesn't affect us today and why should they pay reparations, you don't understand that trauma is passed down? Jim Crow laws taught us to hate each other, to hate ourselves, to push light skin against dark skin. We were taught to hate each other. House niggas, the field niggas. We were taught to hate each other. And we passed that down to our children, future generations. And we wonder why we in the neighborhood trying to kill each other? We're trying to kill what we hate. The same thing you do every single day. The same thing I do every day. The same thing we do every single day. No matter what age you are, no matter where you live, no matter what race you are, gender, we all try to kill something we hate about ourselves. These people who are in the hood doing this, these young people who are killing each other, they're just trying to kill off the person they hate. And they need to replace that anger, the hatred, the anxiety, the stress that lives inside them with love, with opportunity, with positivity, with a chance to see the world is bigger than those walls. So before you want to judge somebody, before you want to ask, does Black Lives Matter? Yes. I'm going to end it off with this. Yes, Black lives does matter to us. The difference between a rogue police officer, because I'm not going to accuse all police officers, a rogue police officer killing a black person, in our outcry against that, opposed to a black person killing another black person, is this. See, if a black person kills another black person, we know what's going to happen. An investigation is going to take place. If that black person is caught, they'll be convicted. They will either be sentenced to prison or worse. We know what's going to happen with that. When a police officer kills a black person, we know what's going to happen. The dog and pony show is going to come on play. We're going to act like they're going to trump charges up. Everybody act like they're outraged. Oh boy, they killed another black person. We have to do something about it. Put on the whole show. Go to court. Trial. We know the outcome to the trial going to be. We don't even need to see the news clip. Not guilty. Cop goes on living his life. We've seen it with George Zimmerman. We've seen it with so many other black people. Then here comes the settlement. We throw cash at that family as if that's going to repay or replace that life that they lost, that child's future. Then constantly other police officers, other rogue police officers, are then trained to believe that if they choose to kill a black person because we all the threats, then it's okay, because guess what? I'm not going to get convicted either. So when you want to understand the difference and why we kill each other, take a visit to the hood. Stay a little while. Try to picture your life. Try to picture your life surrounded by liquor stores, surrounded by drugs, violence, anger, hate. And tell me how you would live. And if that's too gruesome for you, you can't do that. Take a look at our soldiers. What they deal with when they go to Afghanistan, to Iraq, to Libya. And they're surrounded by gunfire, violence, true poverty. Not knowing whether a kid is out there killing or just someone that needs to be rescued. They're forced to go back to general society. See, the picture becomes a lot clearer when you look at it from a different angle. You'll see that it's deeper than us killing each other. It's about us hating each other. We have to learn to love each other. More importantly, we need to learn to love ourselves. I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Past the Present Podcast. Remember to subscribe to my show, like my show. If you want to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with me with Instagram, Alan the Great, or Facebook, past, present. Please hit me up. Let me know what your thoughts are. Don't forget to comment on here. Let me know how y'all feel. Give me your thoughts and opinions on today and every other episode I did. I want to thank you for joining us for this episode. I love you all. And until next time I talk to you people, I only got one thing left to say to you. Stay tuned. Peace.